I had never been the type to cause a spectacle. But the night Karen looked straight into my eyes across a quiet dinner table and said, "Sometimes I just wish you'd disappear," something inside me fractured. It wasn't an explosion. It wasn't rage. It was the kind of silence that rewrites a man from the inside out. I didn't demand an explanation. I didn't bargain or plead. I didn't even ask what she meant. I simply gave a slow nod, as if her words hadn't just carved straight through me, and rose from my chair. My keys stayed on the counter. The house we had built together stood behind me like a frozen monument to a life that no longer belonged to either of us. I walked out with nothing more than my wallet and a small duffel bag. No farewell. No speech. Only silence. For a decade, I had bent myself into whatever shape her happiness required. I had taken on endless work hours, abandoned my own ambitions, and ignored every subtle sign that her affection was slipping away. That one sentence, 7 small words, wasn't a shock so much as it was the final nail in a coffin I'd been building for years. Perhaps she thought I'd beg her to take it back. Perhaps she expected me to fight for our marriage like a man clawing at a cliff edge. But there was nothing left in me to give. So I granted her wish. I vanished. 3 states away, I began again. I changed my name, left my old life like a snake leaves its skin. I returned to carpentry, the craft I'd loved long before the corporate grind she had pushed me toward. My new home was a small, tucked-away town where nobody knew my history. No one knew the man I used to be. For the first time in years, I could breathe without the weight pressing against my chest. I kept to myself, no phone calls to friends, no letters to my brother. I became a shadow drifting through quiet streets, just another face at the grocery store, just another man sipping coffee in the corner of the diner. In time, I bought a little cabin on the forest's edge. I took commissions for handmade furniture, then opened a small shop with my new name painted on the glass. People respected my craftsmanship and my steady, quiet manner. I wasn't someone's husband anymore. I wasn't anyone's disappointment. I was simply a man making honest work, and that was enough. 7 years passed like that. I told myself I didn't care what had become of Karen. I assumed she had moved on, perhaps married the man I'd long suspected lingered near the edges of our marriage. My heart, I believed, had grown too cold for her to touch again. Then one afternoon, she stepped into my shop. Her clothes were expensive, yet wrinkled, as if she'd been traveling without rest. Her hair was slightly disheveled, her expression taut with exhaustion. Her gaze swept over the displays until it landed on me, then froze. Neither of us moved. She looked older, not just in the lines on her face, but in the way life had etched its hardships into her. Her hands trembled as she took a step forward. "Michael," she whispered, my old name, one I hadn't heard in years. "You're alive." I stayed still, arms crossed, my heartbeat pounding, though my face gave away nothing. Then she broke. Harsh, uncontrollable sobs spilled out, drawing the attention of the other customers. She dropped to her knees right there on the floor, gasping apologies between tears. "I've been searching for you for years," she choked out. "When you left, I thought you were dead. I filed missing person reports, went to therapy. I destroyed my life trying to find you." Her voice wavered. "I didn't mean what I said that night. I was angry. I was stupid. I never thought you'd actually leave." At last, I spoke. But I did. And I stayed gone. She stared up at me, desperation in her eyes. "Please, come back. Just talk to me. Let me explain. I need to make it right." I drew in a slow breath. "There's nothing to fix. You got exactly what you wished for." I disappeared. My voice carried no bitterness, no longing, only fact. Her sobs grew heavier. I didn't reach for her. My mourning for her had ended long ago, in the hollow loneliness of cheap motel rooms and beneath the canopy of cold, silent nights. This grief belonged to her now. Eventually, she rose, wiping at her face. "Do you hate me?" she asked quietly. I paused before answering. "No. I just don't feel anything anymore." She nodded slowly, as if that truth cut deeper than hatred ever could. Without another word, she turned and left, just as I once had. I watched her fade into the daylight, now only a stranger. When the door closed behind her, I went back to my workbench. I set the chisel to the grain and began carving again. Some things are left behind for good. And some are buried so deep, it's as if they were never yours at all.